Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TV's Garage. Today we are working on the Excursion again, putting some airbags under it. I've already done the other side, made a bunch of mistakes, learned a bunch. I'm going to pass that along to you. So this Excursion is lifted 4 inches, so there's a little complication because, the axle is 4 inches lower away from the frame than what the kit expects. I also went ahead and bought the F350 or F250 350 mounting kit where it puts the bag outboard of the frame right on top of the leaf spring, because I like this design better than the Excursion one that sits inboard. Something about having the bags further out makes me think that it will help add some stability and reduce some body roll, as opposed to having the bags another foot inboard. So that's my theory. We'll see if it works, and I'm gonna go ahead and get these installed. The only reason that they say that you shouldn't use these is because the Excursions have this little beauty panel, but on the F250s and 350s this won't be in your way, but it's not a big deal. Let's get into it. Over here on the driver's side, one of the first things the kit says to look out for is this parking brake mounting tab on these Ford trucks. They tell you to flip this bolt around the other way. What I'm going to do is just take it out and remove it, because as you can see, I have no parking brakes. I don't have any cable work. Ripped all that junk out years ago. I think this is why they put the Excursion kit with the bag, right here instead of out there, is because they run all these fuel lines and stuff down the frame. So what I did is I just unclipped them and got the stuff, up out of the way, because the bolt's gonna come through right through this area. Well, hard to point in there, but bolt's gonna come through like right here and up there. So I just pulled the line out of its little retainer, so that way, these were not bound down, so I don't drill through them on accident. I can bend them out of the way if I need to. But now we're at the point where I've got this guy set in there. I'm gonna take a marker and I'm gonna mark inside of those 2 holes on the top. The kit says that you can use any 4 that are available. So I'm gonna use the top 2 since the lower one is not exactly, usable. And mark those holes and drill them out. So at this point, I now have the holes drilled. I'm just gonna slide the bolts through here, and then I'm gonna center up. I'm gonna get the U-bolts, put them down this way to get this plate centered up where it needs to be. Make sure everything's tied up to the frame, and then the bolts underneath here are snugged up enough so that I can move it, but it doesn't flop around. So I'll get everything squared up where it needs to be. I'll then compress the bag and pull it out and tighten those bolts on the bottom. Okay, so it's installed. Got the bolts in, got everything tightened up. This is how they ended up in the back. Right here you can see I still need to get this line bent out of the way because it's touching that, but I'll be able to clamp this back down. I just got to put a little kink down in it. And upper harness out of the way. That one's not going to interfere at all, so I'm good there. This brake line seems to be doing fine. There's plenty of space back there for it. So really not too bad. Well, that pretty much sums it up. This job really isn't too bad. I would say the second bag went in a lot smoother than the first bag. So learned a whole bunch on the first time. And also on the other side in the Excursion, the exhaust, the fuel tank, it's really tight over there. So that's definitely frustrating to try to maneuver inside of there, but it's not too bad. It took me about 4 hours all said and done. And I ended up mounting the Schrader valves back here in the bumper. I just honestly went straight back from the bag and poked them through by those parking sensors because my bumper's trash and I'm gonna be replacing it anyways. Previous owner backed into a couple of those big yellow posts at a gas station, mangled that thing up, so I'll be replacing that. But for now, ready to go.